Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, well, I want to welcome you to the Institute of Design's annual graduation celebration. That's right. My name is Cherie Jones. I'm the Director of Student Success here at ID. And just a few words. So, tomorrow is the official graduation ceremony, but in true ID tradition and custom, we like to come together in our own intimate and special way to celebrate our graduates and all that they have accomplished. Let's give them a round of applause. Woo-hoo. So while they'll walk across the stage officially tomorrow, they're going to cross our stage today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our Dean, Anijo Matthew, to say a few words, and then we will move on with the show.
Good evening, everyone. All right, let's do that again. Good evening, everyone. Right. Welcome to the 85th graduation ceremony of the Institute of Design at Illinois Tech. As Cherie mentioned, my name is Anijo Matthew, and I'm the dean of the school. As you know, the official university ceremony is tomorrow, but as Cherie said, we always carve out this special moment for our graduating students right here at their home. It is our chance to let the people who love these students see the place that kept them up at night, and maybe finally understand why they kept talking about frameworks at the dinner table. My students, can you believe 85 cohorts have graduated from ID? Students just like you walked into an uncertain future 85 times before this. Let me start with a question. How many of you feel confident predicting what the world looks like 12 months from now? Okay, I didn't think. The world has always been unpredictable. But right now, the pace of change in the world has reached a new level. I wake up every morning and the first thing I do is check the news to see what has happened. Political realities are reversed overnight. Technologies that didn't exist when these students started ID are transforming the economy. And as of most of you know, next week Illinois Tech will look very different from what it looks like today. The ground isn't just shifting, it's shifting crazy fast. In my moments of self-doubt, I often look for ways to think about all of this. I recently found a Lebanese-American author named Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Some of you may remember his book, The Black Swan. His third book, Anti-Fragile, offers a framework that has helped me and may help you as well. Taleb says the world contains three types of things. Fragile things shatter when the pressure comes. Robust things absorb the pressure and hold their shape. But then there's this third category, anti-fragile. Anti-fragile things don't just withstand stress and disruption, they draw energy from it. Chaos is not a threat to them. Chaos and stress are in fact the conditions they need to grow. A great example of an anti-fragile system is your muscular system. The external stressors actually build the muscles. There is one line in the book that stayed with me, and I hope it does with you. Wind extinguishes the candle, but energizes the fire. The world you're stepping into is an extraordinarily windy world right now. But that is just the weather report. How we respond to that wind, that is on us. The question each of us have to ask, are we built to flicker out like a candle, or are we built to burn brighter like the fire? I like to think that your time at ID will help you answer this question. You were forged in uncertainty. You learned to make decisions with incomplete information. Every time a prototype collapsed the night before a presentation, you reiterated instead of giving up. Every critique from Kim Irwin made you sharper. Most people are trained to optimize for a stable world. They're taught to find the right answer, apply the right process, and repeat. That works beautifully, right up until the moment the GPS stops working, and there is no more instructions. In our line of work, uncertainty isn't the enemy. Uncertainty is where we live. It's where we do our best work. Now, I want to be honest with you. It's not going to be easy. Some of you have jobs lined up. Some of you are still figuring it out. All of you are anxious about what comes next. This discomfort you're feeling right now is real. We all felt it and continue to feel it even today. Don't rush to resolve it with a false sense of certainty. Certainty, as I said last year, is a trap. The world is full of people who will tell you exactly what is going to happen and exactly what you should do about it. And they will say this with such conviction that you'll be tempted to believe them. Don't. Certainty in a volatile world is not wisdom. It's almost always noise dressed up as confidence. Here are 3 things I want you to carry forward. Act before the conditions are perfect. The instinct to wait to have more information will cost you more than any failed attempt ever will. Build something. Put it in front of people. Learn from what breaks. Repeat. Ask questions. And as Jeremy would tell you, frame the problem. This is a skill that separates designers from everyone else in the room. AI can answer questions. The ability to ask the right question is the rarest and the most valuable skill in the room today. Cultivate it. Finally, stay connected to your cohort. Anti-fragile systems are not solo acts. They're networks. The people in this room tonight, they're part of yours. Don't lose them. One last thing, I want you to close your eyes for a second, or don't, it's fine. I gave out my final grades on Wednesday, so you have nothing to fear from me. Think about what happened in these halls. The late nights, the failed prototypes, the tough crits, the unexpected breakthroughs at 11 p.m. That is your education. Not your credits, not your degree, but the conviction that you're built for this uncertain world. The wind is already here. It's time to be the fire. Thank you and congratulations. At this time, I want to introduce our alumni speaker, Brianna Sylver, an alumna of ID. She holds an MDes from the Institute of Design at Illinois Tech. Since graduating, Brianna has founded Sylver Consulting, an international innovation research and strategy firm working at the intersection of market research, user experience, and business strategy. With over 20 years of experience helping city governments and Fortune 1000 companies unlock growth and navigate complexity, she's been recognized by PDMA, QRCA, and HSM Management for her contributions to innovation. Brianna also serves on the ID's advisory board, so in many ways, she just refuses to leave ID. Most recently, she authored Leading Through Freefall, How Innovators Turn Turbulence into Trust, a timely playbook for leading with resilience when the path forward is anything but certain. It's my great pleasure to welcome Brianna to the stage. Please give her a round of applause.
Well, it is such a pleasure to be with all of you tonight. So, as Anisha set up, I've been where you are, in 2003 to be exact. And like you, I was excited to be graduating from ID, And at that time, I was one of the youngest people to have ever gone through ID. I was 23 years old when I sat where each of you are tonight. But I'll also tell you, I was super exhausted, having just pushed through finals, just like all of you, and all while trying to secure a job in that process. And the job market, just like now, was pretty terrible. The nation was still struggling to recover from the dot-com bust at that moment in time. And despite that, I did have an internship that I was starting soon after graduation. But the kicker of all of that was that it was going to cost me more money to accept that job than I was going to earn at it, because it required me to move to Madison, Wisconsin. So talk about a hit to the ego, right? I just finished a graduate degree, and I basically had to go pay to work for somebody else. And so the truth was, sitting in your seat, nearly 23 years ago now, I was scared more than I was excited. And I was afraid that I had just shackled myself with so much debt that I wasn't sure that I could ever pay it back. And so a question really loomed large in my mind at that moment, and it was, were people going to want to invest in me? And I'm standing here to tell you, those fears were all unfounded. Not a single one of them was true. And so what the truth is that attending ID was a life-changing decision for me. It literally changed every trajectory of my life. Personally, I met my husband, who's right over here, on registration day, to be precise. He also is an ID grad. And professionally, I am what I am today, all because of everything that I learned here. So 23 years later, I can't imagine what my life would have been like had I not followed the call back then to come to the Institute of Design. But the truth is, as I've already started to set up, those first few years out of school were a bit of a roller coaster. And so we're going to pull down the safety harness for a minute, and I'm going to take you on what that roller coaster ride was for me, in the hopes that it ultimately informs how you might think about your own journey come Monday morning. So it's going to start June 2003. So more or less a week or two after graduation, I moved to Madison, Wisconsin for that internship that I mentioned. So I chose to do that despite the fact that it was going to cost me money, because it had a promise of a full-time job on the other side of it. The company was Daytex Omeda. They made anesthesia machines and ventilators. My team was responsible for thinking about what new product verticals they could go into for intensive care units across the world. The work was strategic, important, and frankly, it was just downright thrilling for me. And so I entered into that with lots of excitement. Then July 2003 hit, and Daytex Omeda was bought by GE Medical, and the job that I thought that I was going to have post-internship was gone, was no longer on the table. And so I was given the option by the organization to move to Waukesha, Wisconsin for a usability specialist role within a month, or I wouldn't have a job with them. But the idea of becoming a usability specialist felt super suffocating to me. It was a tactical job that they were offering me, and I personally lean very strategic and systems-oriented in how I approach my work. And so I made the very bold and potentially weird decision for some to turn down that job and return to Chicago. And to many other people in my life, that just looked pure dumb. So then August 2003 hit, and I come back to Chicago. I had 3 months left on my apartment lease, $200 to my name, and essentially 3 months to figure my life out. And so I did what I do best, and I just started talking to people. The thing is I had my back up against the wall. I could not fail. Because doing so meant that I had to move back to the farm country of northern New York. And I don't know about you, but there aren't many innovation jobs where there's more cows than there are people. And so, came back to Chicago. September 2003, I landed a contract position at ABN AMRO LaSalle Bank. I would be leading a team, helping them to infuse human-centered design into their new product development process. I had no idea what I was doing. I was 24 years old at that point. Leading this team, I felt like an imposter if there ever was one. But by the grace of God, that door had opened, and oh, thank goodness it did, because I could not pay rent. And so now I could pay rent, and I could pay rent for a couple months. And so, from September 2003 to April 2004, I kept looking for that full-time job. I went on multiple interviews, yet in every single one, I knew at the core of my being, that job was not for me. If I took that job, I was going to move away from my goals. Now, the funny, right, is that I couldn't even articulate what my goals were. But the energy in my body could. And so as I explored new opportunities, my body became a compass, telling me where to lean in and also telling me where to lean out. And so as I explored new opportunities, I was meant to say yes when something came with a sensation of expansion with it. That was my green light to say, move forward, it's exactly where you're meant to go. And when that ABN AMRO LaSalle Bank job came up, that's exactly how I felt inside my body. On the flip side, the opportunities I was meant to say no to felt constricting and they felt heavy. And interestingly, every single full-time job opportunity I interviewed for triggered that same heavy, closed, constricted feeling. They were clearly not the right fit for me, and I knew it. And so I was bold in each of those conversations. And I would say right then and there, in the middle of the interview, I really appreciate the opportunity to have come in and spoken with you today, but I really don't think I'm the right candidate for this job because of X, Y, and Z. Now that candor was pretty surprising for folks, and they agreed I might not be right for the role, but they also saw and valued my ability to honestly and accurately appraise the situation. And so what ended up happening is that almost every single organization that I had that conversation with, they started to call me back about 4 to 6 weeks later and say, hey, we've got a project. Would you be interested in doing this project? And so literally, I just got contract role after contract role after contract role that way. Then comes May 2004, and I finally found the big job that I had been looking for. A company in the northern suburbs of Chicago with staffing and innovation center. Everything I thought I wanted in this position was in this position. I went to a morning of interviews, super excited to walk through the door, expanded in energy when I did walk through that door. Everything went great in the interviews. The position was everything I thought it would be. And then I went home. And I got those body signals again. And the idea of taking that job, when I was really sitting with it, felt completely suffocating. And so as I was sitting there with those conflicting and frankly super surprising feelings to me in that moment, the organization called and said, we want to hire you, Brianna, but we're not sure that you want to be hired. And in that moment, this is the same day, by the way. So in that moment, I got real honest with myself, and what came out of my mouth, like with no pre-thought, was, when I walked through the doors this morning, I really thought I did. But now, I don't. And so here it was now, turning down the big job. And I remember hanging up the phone and sitting on my couch and thinking, what in the world did you just do? It made no sense. And yet, in the next breath, it made all the sense. Because the fact was, in the 8 months that it had taken me to find this job, I had been building a business, my business, Sylver Consulting. And in doing that, I was growing exponentially. I felt a sense of expansion every single day. It was addictive almost. And anything else just felt suffocating. And so that was the day that I truly committed to having a business, the business that I had already been building for 8 years. And so, for the last 22 years, with my partner, Adriano Galvao, we have been leading Sylver Consulting, and we have grown that building to be a global that company rather, to be a global partner for the Fortune 500. But more importantly, those 22 years have become a laboratory where I have learned how to move when everything feels stuck. And so in the last year, I codified that learning and published Leading Through Freefall, How Innovators Turn Turbulence into Trust. And then in September of 2025, that book was championed by Forbes as one of 5 books to elevate your leadership and drive change. It's been defined as a much-needed blueprint for leaders seeking to turn chaos into competitive advantage. And so, my life today doesn't look anything like I had imagined when I was sitting in your seat 23 years ago. Far from it. But it's better than I had imagined when I sat in your seat. And it's more perfectly fitting for me. And so my hope for each of you is that you find a career path that perfectly fits you in the coming months. So let's underscore a couple of lessons that I hope you've taken from my story and will carry forward with you. The first lesson is that success will likely not look the way that you imagine it will. I am a walking testimony of this. I had found my career path 8 full months before I was even willing to admit it. But I almost missed it because it didn't look the way that I had thought it would look, and it didn't look the way that my mentors told me it should be. And so I had this very rigid vision of how success should arrive, and because it didn't match that mold, I almost didn't give it the credit that it deserved in that process. And so I'm really urging every single one of you, as you step into the next few months, really pay attention to the doors and the things that open up effortlessly for you. Because it's often in those places where your pathway to success lies, but it may not look the way it looks like for your colleague next to you or what you had imagined when you entered ID or as you sit here today. The second lesson is use your intuition as your compass. For me, I've learned that my intuition expresses itself in my body, and I've really learned to listen to that in the way that you heard that in my story. I use the feelings of expansion and contraction as my personal yes or no. If a choice feels tight or heavy, it's a pass. If it feels energizing, it's a green light. And this has made me to be very intentional about the decisions that I make, ensuring that they're my decisions and not just a response to what I feel like I should be doing or what somebody else feels that I should be doing. And so I really urge each and every one of you, find the way that you can tune into your emotion. It may not be through your body, it may be through something else, but find the way that you can really hone in to what your body and what you need as you go through. And lastly, lesson 3, you are more than your degree. So each of you sitting here, you more or less have the exact same degree. Yet you're not all equal in your skills. So I really want you to get clear on what your unique superpower is, and that is your core value offer. And so this is the thing that you effortlessly do that other people don't do or they find difficult. And it's the layer on top of your degree that is going to make you attractive and appealing as a candidate over the other person that you might be competing with. And so I've got a step-by-step assessment to help you to do this. It's covered in chapter 9 in my book, Leading Through Freefall. I'm gifting you each this chapter. All you've got to do is scan the QR code, fill it out, and you'll get it downloaded into your phone. My superpower is clarity. And once I defined this for myself, a whole new world opened up for me from a confidence point of view. And so I want that exact same energizing strength to come to each of you, just as it did with me, and this assessment will help you to do that. And so lastly, in closing, I just want to say congratulations to each and every one of you. Come tomorrow, you're going to be a grad of the Institute of Design, and that's a big deal, right? That's a big deal. And my wish for each of you isn't that you find a great job. My wish is that you find expansion. And I hope that you find the courage to say no to the roles that make you feel small, even when the world tells you that you should be grateful for a paycheck. And I hope that you trust that your superpowers are not just lines on a resume, but gifts meant to change the teams that you choose to join. And most of all, I hope you realize that the most important design project that you will ever work on is the life that you're building starting Monday morning. And so I urge you, go into the world and make us proud. Congratulations, class of 2026. Thank you.
One more time for Brianna. That was amazing. Okay, it is my honor to present our next speaker. It's our student speaker who is graduating this spring, Faysal Biobaku.
Thank you all for being here today. Hello, for those who don't know me, my name is Faysal Biobaku, and I would like to begin by thanking the faculty for the honor of addressing the graduating class today. This journey has been full of ups and downs. It's been full of moments where I've genuinely wondered, what was I doing here? None of it, and I mean none of it, would have been possible without the people who held us up. Our families, our partners, our friends, the faculty, and the staff who poured into us. Let's take a moment to give them a round of applause and appreciate them. So I would like to start my address today by using a metaphor. I would like to use the hand. It's 5 fingers, 5 things I've learned here, and 5 things I'm leaving with. First, the thumb for hubris. Then we have the index finger for curiosity, the middle finger for confidence, the ring finger for trust, and the little finger for ease. I'll walk through each one, I'll use my own story, and by the end, I hope you see yours in it too. First, the thumb, hubris. There's a reason I chose the thumb for this one. Opposable thumbs are what we tell ourselves makes us distinct, superior. above the rest. I came here into this program the same way. With over 5 years of experience in the creative design field, I questioned why I was in the foundation track. Surely I was past that. I argued with Marty. I had met with the CEOs of fintech companies. I had defined user journeys. I had crafted experience that moved money around the world. I thought I knew what design brought to the table. I thought I knew what it could be, what I could do. I complained to my parents, but they were very adamant. And they said, keep an open mind. There is no knowledge lost. And then, one clear fall afternoon, in a visual communication class with Professor Tomoko, we're moving through the different levels of abstraction, trying to display or communicate what an object or something might be, from the concrete to the abstract, from literal to conceptual, when a colleague turned to the room and quite simply asked, "What is a hand?" Until that moment, we all assumed we knew. I wondered if I was asking the right questions. That question cracked something open in me. It led to spirited discussions and challenges like the studio with Professor Zach Pino. We discussed how to create inclusive experiences for people, and arguments in this very hallway about where design was going and our responsibility inside of it. But I could only start asking these questions once I took ego out of the driving seat. The thumb makes us feel like we're on top, but it's when we put it down, then we start to ask questions about the history behind our everyday experiences and how we've come to exist. We can actually reach for something new. Collaboration creates giant leaps, ego slows them down. Next, the index finger for curiosity. We point with our index finger when we enter a room we've never been in. We reach out with this first. We lead with it. That's happened when I let go of hubris. Curiosity moved to the front. I started asking questions I've never asked before about systems and how they interact, about people inside those systems and their behaviors as well. Questions about what we assume and what we miss because of it. We learned to identify patterns, to map out and visualize complexity, to hold a point of view loosely because the next question might change it. To the family in the room wondering quietly, did we just spend all this money to learn how to ask questions? I answer you, yes. I'm just kidding. But there's more. I'm done, actually. Okay, I'm just kidding. When you lead with curiosity, failure becomes obsolete. And that's the last time I'll use the word failure in this speech. There's only discovery. Each phase tells you something new. Each dead end is pointing somewhere new. Questions are not weaknesses. In design, in human-centered design especially, the question is the work. And here's what I like to say plainly. Because we can talk about questions in 2026 without talking about this, AI can give you answers, extraordinary answers, fast answers, polished answers, but it can't ask the question that matters. Not one born sitting across strangers, watching their face change when they touch a prototype for the first time. Not one that comes from a visually impaired woman who walks into your apartment by accident and changes how you see your whole project or a whole human experience. Those questions come from being human, from being present, from being curious about the body in the room, about other people. That is irreplaceable. And that's what we are trained here to do. And now the middle finger for confidence. With the middle finger, I would like to introduce confidence. because this one deserves some emphasis. In the fall of 2024, I joined a workshop with Professor Marty Taylor exploring haptic technology, the science of touch. The science of feeling what robots feel is a path that I explored in this project. I started asking questions. What does it mean to interact with an object? How do we actually engage with objects through touch? What would it feel like to let a human hand feel what a robot feels like in real time, and why do we need to do this? Those questions led to the F1 hand controller, a haptic controller that lets operators feel exactly what a robot touches: texture, resistance, and pressure. We started at Northwestern Hand Labs, working with engineers, watching them work, listening to what wasn't working. We conducted research into current systems of remote control, from gaming to surgery. We built Franken prototypes from cardboard and encouraged people to critique them. This project challenges the one-size-fits-all glove model, allowing us to hone in on a direction that considers our differences. We iterated, we refined, and we learned. This project was recognized by Core 77 and the Fast Company. It's a robot controller built from human questions about the human hand. And here's the thing. You can't vibe code your way through that. The process of deep exploration, sitting in a lab watching people struggle, asking questions from behaviors and workarounds observed in the moment, the building, the breaking, the testing, and rebuilding. The asking what if about something nobody has ever asked yet. This is that human process. This is your process. We all have different journeys, similar skills, maybe, similar training, yes, but nobody else has your lived experience. Nobody else has been in rooms that you have, in your conversations, moments of quiet connection with a stranger, over a prototype that almost works. Nobody can be Faysal Biobaku better than I can, and nobody can be you better than you can. My dad always says to me, I wish you good times, but tough times ahead. Not because he wanted to see me struggle, but because he knew through discomfort comes growth. Lead with confidence, know why you started, and trust the struggle is part of the process. The ring finger. The ring finger carries a promise. I want to talk about trust. Professor Marty Taylor gave us a book at the end of our foundation semester. It was Dieter Ram's The Power of Good Design. Honesty in design means this. Sorry. In it, one of the principles stayed with me above all. A good design is honest. Honesty in design means this. You cannot build trustworthy solutions if you don't have the power to recognize your own bias. The data you choose, the communities you choose to represent, the narratives you choose to build around your findings. It all carries a point of view. It's all a choice. As designers, we are custodians for these choices. We have the powers to include, we have the power to exclude, without often meaning to. Trust requires us to be transparent. Even when your hypothesis is proven wrong, especially then. To interpret clearly, to avoid ambiguity, to say, here's what I found, here's what I don't know, and here's where we should look harder. That's what it means for design, to design with integrity. And lastly, the little finger, ease. Finally, you can ease up a little bit, yeah? The rambling is almost over, am I right? The little finger, not the least important, but just as well, sometimes the most overlooked. Ease, the little finger, provides stability. In reality, it adds grip. It ties it all together. As designers, everything we make carries a decision. Who gets in? Who gets left outside? Ease is not decoration. It's not a nice to have. Ease is access. Ease is equity. The hand matters here, because design is at its core the act of imagining a future that does not exist. We reach out into what isn't there and try and make it real. And the question you must always ask is, who can reach it with us? And finally, the whole hand. I let go of hubris. I led with curiosity. I moved with confidence. I designed with trust, and I built for ease. These are all not easy things to grasp. But in this room, it's full of people who did exactly that. 2.5 years or more, or maybe less, you've asked questions no one had the answers to yet. You built things that did not exist. You stumbled. You turned uncharted territories into new direction. You showed up for each other. You are now ready for your next challenge. Your experience shaping the next phase of your journey. I came here, just like AI, thinking I had all the answers. But discovery happens every day through that lived experience. You should be extremely proud. It's been an honor sharing this space, this time, and this moment with you all. Thank you. I've been Faysal Biobaku. Congratulations to you all.
Okay, now we move to the last section of the formal ceremony. We're going to do a little bit of standing up and clapping, so get ready for this. At this time, I request all the faculty of the Institute of Design to stand so we can recognize you. These are the people that got these students to the finish line. You may sit down. It's supposed to be formal. Staff, please stand up so we can recognize you. These are the people that helped you when things weren't working. I especially want to call out Cherie Jones, our Director of Student Success. As well as all the other staff members who have been part of the student journey. A big round of applause for Leslie Balser, who has been a critical member. I was almost going to say don't clap for her because today is her last day at ID. She's moving to a new role outside ID, but I'm just kidding. Congratulations, Leslie. Now, I request all the graduating students to stand up. I want you to turn back. Turn back. Turn back. Turn back. Okay. Now, Faisal, turn back. All right. Now you're going to do something important. You know what the TAM is, right? Like that's that thing on the top. You're going to tip your TAM, like this, to your family, friends, everyone who supported you through these last few years. So this is a formal thing. Tip your tam. Like, thank you. Now you have some use for this colonial garb. And finally, a big round of applause for all of you. You are graduating this week. You achieved this. You did this. Congratulations. And it's over, right? Almost. Tomorrow is. You may sit down. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. There's also gifts for the students that they will take out at the end of the ceremony, but it's super awesome. Please wait to see what the gifts are. After they do that, we move on to the second floor, where Professors Marty Taylor, Maura Shea, and the team will introduce the student showcase and the annual collection. This is the work that the students have done over the year, so you can see what happens here at the Institute of Design. The exhibition was designed by Banti Maura and Professor Tomoko Ichikawa, who could not unfortunately be here due to personal reasons, but we will talk a little bit more about that. After the show, we have some light refreshments and drinks right in that area. We also have a cake to cut, so please hang out, check out our beautiful home, talk to the people before you head out for dinner, drinks, and whatever other celebrations you have planned. Thank you to Brianna for joining us as the alumni speaker. Thank you to Faysal for his words of wisdom. Thank you to all the family and friends and everybody who makes this place so special, and a special thanks to all of you, students, graduating and non-graduating, for making ID what it is. Thank you, everybody. So go get the gifts and show it off to people.